okay, we have real problems. If 50 people are talking to the press about this story, 50 people, like, there's something really, really wrong. Many of our own advisors are now pointing a finger directly at Mr. Harris. Mrs. Harris. In interviews, several of them criticized her for going on offensive against rivals only to retreat. That's an interesting point there. Like, she just really has been, I think, the real tone of her campaign has just been a series of just indecisiveness. Just a bunch of indecisiveness, really kind of time and time again about how hard to go. Like, people, like when she attacked Joe Biden for the school busing issue, only to come out and seemingly really agree with him and what he was saying just a few days later, and really failing to choose a side, again, as it's going to say here, in the party's ideological war between liberals and moderates. She also agreed to an organization with the campaign chairwoman, Maya Harris, who was unchallenged in part because she is Harris's sister, and a manager, Juan Rodriguez, who could not be replaced without likely triggering the resignations of the candidate's consulting team. Even at this late date, aides say it's unclear who's in charge of the campaign. So that's a big problem. Like, and again, this is so typically Democratic. Like, this is such a typical Democratic Party type story, because there's consultants, there's a lot of money, there's just complete indecisiveness about what message to take. This got everything. It's really got everything here. Like, it's really kind of just, it's juicy. You would just want to squeeze the juice out of what's coming on here. And it's just like, oh, you can tell there's a massive problem. So, with just over 2 months until the Iowa caucuses, her staff is now riven between competing factions to belittle one another. The candidate's relationship with Rodriguez has turned frosty, according to multiple Democrats close to Harris. Several aides, including Jaleesa Washington Price, the state's director in crucial South Carolina, have already had conversations about post-campaign jobs. So, like, things are not going to be going very strong for much longer. Her polling is dipping because, again, it's just like everything typically Democratic here. Like, in the typical way the Democratic Party kind of does business, like, you can see very, very easily, very, very presently. It's kind of right in front of you. In this, it's really glorious. Like, that indecisiveness kind of created by Kamala Harris is so, it's really apparent, and I think it's a big reason why she hasn't, again, been taken more seriously on this front. So, yeah, even Representative, yes, this is a real person's actual name, Representative Marcia Fudge, who's endorsed Harris and is a former chairman of the Congressional Black Caucus, said in an interview the senator was an exceptional candidate who had been served poorly by top staff and must fire Rodriguez. Like, I love how she's not going to fire Rodriguez because it would literally anger the consultants. The consultants, if that's not the most Democratic thing I've ever heard, we cannot risk angering the consultants. Bum, 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 bum. Like, that's the consultants will be mad. So Rodriguez, in a statement, said, our team from the candidate to organize across the country are working day in and day out to make sure Kamala is the nominee to take on Trump and end the national nightmare that is his presidency, blah, 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 blah. Her statements go beyond staffing and strategy. Her troubles, go beyond staffing and strategy. Financial predicament is dire. The campaign has not taken a poll or been able to afford TV advertising since September, and it has been all but quiet buying Facebook ads. It's all but quit buying Facebook ads in the last 2 months. Her advisors, after months of resistance, have now signaled their desire for a group of former aides to begin a super PAC to finance independent political effort on her behalf. This is pretty much the quote. You can't run the country if you can't run your campaign, says Gil Duran, a former aide to Harris and other California Democrats, who's now the editorial page director over at the Sacramento Bee. And, she could have been much, much more potent, but she just is so incredibly indecisive. But, I mean, some of her problems have been kind of beyond her control. Healthcare policy and the identity of the Democratic Party has been pretty well debated this year. She's never really given the details of either matter extensive thought as she rose from local prosecutor to California Attorney General in the Senate. Like, And then she hasn't made much bones of, like, there's pretty much times where she's acted very progressive and times where she's acted very corporatist. Like, her relationship with AIPAC, I believe, is pretty strong. Like, those things, like, there's times where she's kind of been on both sides. She hasn't really staked out a strong position, moderate or liberal, or more left-wing or more progressive. Like, but she had a lot of time to do that during the campaign, so there's not really that much excuse for that. I mean, I do kind of get maybe not going fully there on healthcare, but, I mean, again, that's all kind of belied by the fact that you have so much time. That's the reality. And, of course, this is a good one. Her supporters believe that as a black woman, Harris has run into difficulty with some voters over one of the defining issues of the race, assumptions about who can and cannot defeat President Trump. And the really interesting tendency that only Democratic voters seem to have is to vote for the benefit of somebody else. Like, they're always going to want to vote for the benefit of somebody else. Like, that's the... Like, they're never considering about, like, what they want. They're like, will this appeal to the Republicans? Can we get the Republicans? Can we get the independents? Can we get the moderates on board? Like, that's the funny thing about this. So Harris is now kind of attempting a pivot, taking a less scripted approach to campaigning. So like, I'm freewheeling, baby. Jim Margolis is a senior campaign advisor. I'm about 60% sure worked on Hillary Clinton's campaign. So there's one. A senior campaign advisor wanted to improve performance as a case study in letting Kamala be Kamala, according to one person who participated in the call, a reference to Harris's strengths when she's listening to her competitors' comments and reacting freely. It was her abundant political skills, strong on the stump, a warm manner with voters, and ferocity with the opposition that seemed to spell trouble for Trump. That convinced many Democrats of Harris' potential. So, like, yeah, I feel like she could be good. Like, she's responded to Joe Biden well. But the thing is, like, when she goes in the aggressive again, she immediately seems to just want to take a step back. Like, she was well within her rights to be like, that little girl was me in the first debate. But then, literally, like, the next day, she just pretty much gave up on what she was trying to say. She was like, it was no problem. Like, it wasn't a really big deal. Like, I mean, Joe Biden was kind of right. He's not racist. It's no problem. It's cool. Like, I remember being like, what? So, like, what's your take on this now? Like, I'm confused. I'm very, very confused. Like, again, it's really just a mess. And it's kind of funny because, like, you're not going to get this back now. It's like, it's not coming in that easy. It just really isn't. So, yeah, that's the reality of the situation there. So, very, very awkward situation for the Kamala Harris campaign. I'm going to take you guys back here for just a quick little second to this little advertisement. I don't know if you guys are going to remember this. Maybe you saw it on TV or something, but just take a listen to this ad. See if it sounds a little familiar. This is for Ring video conferencing. I'm sure if you've seen like a football game, it's been on in some sort of form or fashion.
They want you to think this is what a home burglary looks like. But over 95% of break-ins actually occur in broad daylight, which is why I invented the Ring video doorbell.
Hello?
I'm doing free tree trimming estimates.
I'm bathing the children right now.
Ring lets you see and speak with whoever's at your home from anywhere. And with dual power options, you can install Ring in just minutes. Available at ring.com and these fine retailers.
So that is a little advert from the Ring advertisement for the Ring camera surveillance division. And guess what, guys? I don't know if you knew this. It's owned by your favorite corporate overlords, Amazon. Yes, Amazon owns Ring now. It's very comforting. Yeah, right, guys. It's just the best. We love it. Sam Biddle, The Intercept, has this very interesting story about Amazon building neighborhood watch lists off of facial recognition here. It's pretty much crafted plans to use facial recognition software and its ever-expanding network of home security cameras to create AI-enabled neighborhood watch lists, according to internal documents reviewed by The Intercept. The planning materials envision a seamless system whereby a Ring owner would be automatically alerted when an individual deemed suspicious was captured in their camera's frame, something described as suspicious activity prompt. Like, anyone who has been paying attention to anything in terms to do with profiling of any kind should probably have about 3 billion alarm bells kind of going off in their head right now. It's unclear who would have to have access to these neighborhood watch lists if implemented, or how exactly they would be compiled, but the documents refer repeatedly to law enforcement, and Ring has forged partnerships with police departments throughout the U.S., raising the possibility that the lists could be used to aid local authorities. So yeah, these suspicious persons would pretty much get free access to the entire network here of Ring devices here, and the kind of the suspicious activity prompt they may just install. So yeah, the documents indicate that the list would be available in the Ring's Neighbors app, through which Ring camera owners discuss potential porch and garage security threats with others nearby, kind of like a Neighbors or a community app that kind of exists there, but without the kind of surveillance aspect of it. Ring spokesperson Yashish Shamiri told The Intercept that features described are not in development or in use, and Ring does not use facial recognition technology, but he wouldn't answer any further questions. This month, in response to continued pressure from news reports and a list of questions sent by Massachusetts Senator Edward Markey, Amazon conceded that facial recognition has been contemplated but unreleased feature for Ring, but would only be added with thoughtful design, including privacy, security, and user control. So at least we know somewhat now the contemplation. There has been some contemplation of this here. Love to see that. Mohammed Tajjar is an attorney of the American Civil Liberties Union of Southern California, expressed concern over Ring's willingness to plan the use of facial recognition watch lists, fearing that giving police departments and consumers access to watch listing capabilities on Ring devices encourages the creation of a digital red line in local neighborhoods where cops, in tandem with skeptical homeowners, let machines create lists of undesirables unworthy of entrance in well-to-do areas. That sounds about right. If you know how things have, if you've seen history kind of play out, I feel like you kind of generally get an idea of what could be going on there from that. It's not the most safe, carefree way to kind of go about your business there. But yeah, legal scholars have long criticized the use of government watch lists in the United States for their potential to ensnare innocent people without due process. When corporations create them, Tajjar says, the dangers are even more stark. As difficult as it is as it can be to obtain answers on how and why behind official blacklist, Amazon tech firms can work with even greater opacity, or they don't have to tell you anything. You can't hold them accountable. You can't vote them out of office if you really wanted to. That's just not a possibility. They are a corporation, and if they're working with local law enforcement to create watch lists for random things that could be happening over time, and imagine the profiling going on, the judgment, the keeping out of things, and the information really the government has on you in this entire situation. So, once known for its line of internet-connected doorbell cameras marketed to the geekily cautious, Ring has quickly turned into an icon of unsettling privatized surveillance. The LA company, now owned by Amazon, has been buffeted this year by reports of lax internal security, problematic law enforcement partnerships, and overall blurring of the boundaries between public policing and private sector engineering. Earlier this year, The Intercept published a video of a special online portal Ring built so the police could access customer footage. The police are just able to access your footage now, from your Ring doorbell. As well as internal company emails about what Ring CEO described as the company's war on dirtbag criminals that steal our packages and rob our homes. That's a little bit of an eyebrow raiser there. But Ring has also at times struggled to make facial recognition work, instead relying on remote workers from the Ring's Ukraine office to manually tag people and objects found in customer video feeds. The automated approach to watch listing described in the document reviewed by The Intercept may seem less unsettling than the human-based approach